So I haven't been to one of the Fifth Dimension meetings before. I did a online one with Harvey for some Texas folks who were stuck in their house. So my sobriety date is June 19th, 1995, and my home group is the Chooseville group in Hagerstown. So if you're coming by on a Saturday at 9 o'clock, we'd love to have you. 9 o'clock in the morning. It should qualify that. So Matt asked me to speak. I've known Matt for probably about 5 years now or so. We actually met as conference attendees with OLDYPAA, and he was on the host committee when it was in St. Louis, and I think I was on advisory council at the time. So I actually saw him in Boston a couple weeks ago, and he snagged me for this. So thanks, Matt, for asking me. I was trying to think of what a topic would be, and the only thing I can think of was a little while ago, one of my home group members ended up passing away. His name was Jim. He had a lot of health issues. He was probably about 20 years older than I was, and so he passed away in the hospital, and he had his friends and family around with him, and they ended up doing a memorial service for him. And about a month before then, there were a couple women who I knew who went to meetings in our area who ended up relapsing and passing away also. And the thing that really stuck with me was that the difference between Jim, who passed away sober, and being able to say goodbye to people and having friends and family around with them towards the end, versus these two other women who one ended up dying in her house by herself, and the other one ended up dying at Walmart as she was leaving with some of her outside issues. So, and the thing that really struck me was that before I got sober, and even when I started drinking, I just had this deep well of loneliness that I could never really shake and could never really get rid of. And it was something that I had when, that I could think of from like an early age. And so even when, before I started drinking and even after I started drinking, I just never felt like I fit in, and I just never felt like I could connect with anyone. And drinking let me kind of dull those feelings for a while and kind of let me pretend that I could actually have this connection with people and not feel so goddamn lonely all the time. And the thing is that, the problem with that was that, well, one, I was a blackout drinker. So even when I was trying to have fun and hang out with people and sort of feel like I could be one of the many, I ended up not remembering this great time I was supposed to have. And then, and I'd have to have people tell me after the fact, what happened. And two, as I kept drinking, I would do more things that I wouldn't have done had I not been sober. And sorry, I have a cat, and he keeps bumping me. So I would do these things that I wouldn't have done had I not been drinking, and definitely would not have wanted to do. So when I was 22, when I landed in AA, and I had come a couple months before, I had gone to rehab, and I had all this like self-knowledge about alcoholism and my disease, but I hadn't really conceded to my innermost self that I needed AA to not drink. I thought that with all the self-knowledge that I had, I wouldn't need, as long as I stayed away from the first drink, I wouldn't get drunk. And then that would be, that's my solution. And it wasn't until I ended up drinking again, that I admitted that, left to my own devices, I will drink again, and I needed AA to stay sober, because I'd been to enough meetings to know that you guys had a solution, and you guys found something that worked, and that if I did what you guys did, I might be able to stay sober. That was the only, I didn't know if it would work for me, but I thought maybe it could, and that was enough for me to come back. And I can remember when I was about 8 years sober, I was getting ready for this AA potluck and speaker down in New Orleans. And I'd gone through a period of about 6 months of not being able to sleep a lot because I was going through like a lot of stuff emotionally. And my sponsor had told me, you know, when my ass falls off, to pick it up and go to a meeting. So I was going to a meeting every day. On the weekends when we had the midnight meetings, I would go to the midnight meeting, and then I would wake up in the morning at 6 o'clock. So then I'd go to like the 6 o'clock meeting. And I had gone every single time up until that point. I always had arranged to meet people at an AA function because I always felt like I was kind of a loser and I was at a place and I needed that security blanket of having another person with me. And I remember getting ready for this potluck and thinking, oh, I'd never done this pre-arrangement with somebody. And my next thought was, well, I've been to so many meetings, I was bound to know people at the event. And I realized in that moment that that staying sober and working with a sponsor and doing these steps, that I had gotten something in sobriety that I never even knew I wanted, nor knew that never knew that I wanted, nor that I thought I would want. And that was the ability to be able to walk into a room and feel comfortable with myself and be able to talk to people and not have to drink, and not have to have something else to make me feel better in order to do that. And that was something I got from sobriety. And that was something that I got from working the steps that I'd never been able to do on my own, for sure. And I never even knew that I wanted. So it just really, so when Jim died and then these other two women died, it just really made me think about how in sobriety, I've been able to find this closeness with people. I've been able to get this sense of that everything's going to be okay because I have this relationship with a higher power that I never had before. And that no matter what, it's going to be okay. And I never, like I said, had that before. And I've done a lot of moves in sobriety. And so I first got sober in Port Angeles, Washington. And so I've never had the opportunity to go to meetings and see people who had seen me when I was like, 2 months sober, and seen us like get sober together and or anything like that. So the one constant I've had for like the last 15 years in sobriety has been, actually, I guess the last 20 years, good God. Anyway, the last 20 years has been going to OLDYPAA and making friends there that I see every year. And so, the peers that I have in the program aren't necessarily the people I got sober with because I've moved around so much, but the peers that I have in the program now are these relationships I've established from going to OLDYPAA every year. And so, there's a group of us that get together every year that we only ever see at OLDYPAA because we all live in different parts of the country. And, as much as I wanted to, as much as when I first got sober, I just wanted to feel a little bit better and I didn't know what else I wanted after that. It's really been the relationships I've made with people in the program that have really helped me not feel that loneliness anymore and be able to practice liking other people and to practice having relationships with other people, and then actually practicing like loving other people. And that's definitely something I couldn't do on my own. And that's definitely something that you guys taught me here in sobriety. So I don't know if I talked long enough. Sorry. But that's it for me. Thanks.